Ladies and gentlemen of the media, whilst we are grappling with the fallouts of the economic mismanagement of the Akufo-Addo-Bawumia-led government and its dire attendant security implications, the Electoral Commission of Ghana has determined that for purposes of registering newly qualified voters for the upcoming 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections, only persons issued with Ghana cards will be allowed to register as voters. In pursuit of this reckless agenda, the EC has proposed to introduce a CI before Parliament, even when it is fully aware of the fact that Ghanaians in their millions still do not have the Ghana card through no fault of theirs. For instance, data from the National Identification Authority, NIA, indicates that only 16,654,072 Ghanaians out of a total population of about 31 million had registered for the Ghana card as of July 2022. Out of this number, only 13,316,612 of them have been issued with their Ghana cards. What this means is that over 3 million Ghanaians who queued to register for the Ghana card have still not received them. The NIA is faced with, even in distributing the Ghana card to Ghanaians who have duly registered, it will be preposterous for the EC to continue to insist on using the Ghana card as the sole identification document for the upcoming voters' registration exercise. The minority has also become aware of a well-hatched, dubious plot by the EC and the NIA to manipulate the data of registered Ghana card bearers in such a manner that will effectively ensure that several Ghanaians in perceived NDC strongholds are disenfranchised. If the agenda of the EC to make the Ghana card the sole identification document for purposes of compiling the voters' register were to materialize, flowing from the above, the minority is fortified in its convictions that any further move by the EC to make the Ghana card the sole identification document for the purpose of compiling the voters' register will disenfranchise millions of Ghanaians, a move which will plunge our beloved country into a major political upheaval with dire security consequences. In the circumstances, we call on well-meaning Ghanaians, the clergy, Peace Council, and our bilateral partners to speak out now in order to preserve the peace and security of our country. Politicization of the security sector, a secret duty to protect the Fourth Republican Constitutional Order, and hence the need for this press conference to arouse the consciousness of President Akufo-Addo and his government to the security threats arising out of the economic malaise unleashed on us. Indeed, Ghana's national security strategy, recently outlined by President Akufo-Addo himself, recognizes the fact of a strong symbiotic linkage between ensuring our economic security and our overall national security. It is against this backdrop that we repeat our calls for the President to dismiss his cousin, the Minister for Finance, without further delay, to allow for new thinking to be brought to bear on the ongoing negotiations with the IMF. Such a step will make it unnecessary for the minority to proceed with its much anticipated motion to censure Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, the Minister for Finance. We also call on President Akufo-Addo to heed the call made by his predecessor, President Mahama, for an urgent national dialogue to help save the economy from total collapse. Attempts by the Electoral Commission to manipulate the outcome of the 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections. And the majority in Parliament is alarmed by the unprecedented economic meltdown the country is faced with and its implication for our national security. Official data sources indicate that Ghana's annual inflation rate accelerated for the 17th straight month to 37.2% in October 2022. However, the reality on the ground is that in some specific cases, inflation is well above 50%. These figures represent the highest inflation rate the country has seen in several decades. Even more alarming is the country's debt-to-GDP ratio. The World Bank in its Africa Pulse report released in October 2022 projected that Ghana will end 2022 with a debt-to-GDP ratio of 104%. The Ghana cedi, on the other hand, has now been adjudged by Bloomberg as the worst performing currency in the world, overtaking bankrupt Sri Lanka's rupee, having slumped by more than 45%. Currently, one needs almost 14 Ghana cedis to purchase $1. The resultant job losses, spike in transport fares, and general hardship suffered by Ghanaians without doubt portends grave danger for our country's security. If care is not taken, Ghana, our beloved country, will soon be heading in the direction of Sri Lanka, a Southeast Asian country which went bankrupt in recent memory due to economic mismanagement, which eventually resulted in mass protests and demonstrations and the eventual collapse of that country's government.